And I realized when I put these poems together that I did have a theme. I found that I was reading about animals this time. Mostly these poems I find have animals in them. So I'm going to begin with wild animals. We lived with ibex, leopards, wildebeest, bushbucks, a kudu, a sable in the kitchen, in the hall, a caracal. We had moved out. While we were gone, the animals moved in. Our home, a kind of mausoleum. The mounted beasts cast shadows on our play. Glass eyes stared into dead space, to places we couldn't see. No matter how loud we screamed, they didn't blink. We ran below their great furred heads. Horns spiked the air like a bad dream in daylight. Dad's friend Bruce killed them all. I didn't like to think about their deaths in the heat of an African afternoon. The sound the leopard made when she dropped, and the wildebeest, bullet to the brain. At night, they padded upstairs to my room, filled my dreams with visions of the savannah. They dwelled a year or two with us, then they were gone. The trophy hunter trucked them off, leaving ghostly outlines of the walls where the great beings lived. Road test. Here we go again, flying across the desert, mother in the front seat with her prayers, dad guns the engine of the new Buick, the small towns a blur, a two-lane highway across an immense landscape. Like the flat bottom of a great sea, he tells us. This was once an ocean teeming with life, amazing sea creatures. I can almost see it in this washed out land. Everywhere there is sand. If I close my eyes, I can flood this great basin. See the bony fish, the giant squid swimming in the depths. Somewhere farther out, there was a great flash of light. A large mushroom cloud rises into heaven, signaling the gods that we have such power. Melted the eyes of those too close to the flash. Atomic bombs that can end all life. They don't count this land for much, or the people who live on it. A land steeped in loneliness and hard to love. The bow-tied men far away, grinding out reports. And this poem is also about that same area in Nevada, called Area 51, close to Las Vegas. The vole. All night I dreamed of voles. The word, the soft velvet sound of it, burrowed into my dreams. A single syllable, soft and furry. I never held one, those pocket-sized creatures. Like a mouse, they lived in the sands of the Mojave. In Area 51, the blast area for nuclear testing in the 50s, they tunnel into the sands, set up families underground, and come up to test the air like the prairie dog. I know its cousin, the mole. They have laid waste to my garden with their small little pink hands, hooded eyes. And the vole is just a dread to the farmer because of its immense appetite for roots and grain. The one I dreamed dug deep into the earthen cave with its offspring, was vaporized along with the snakes, the side-blotched lizards, the prairie dogs, the kangaroo rats, the Gila monsters, the pocket mice, the jackrabbits, the burrowing owls, and the roadrunners when the A-bomb burst over them. My father loved to hunt. And of course, you already know that he loved to drive his big cars. And this was a Sunday drive with Daddy in hunting season. Deer season, the Remington lay across Daddy's lap. Mom next to him in the front, the five of us kids in the back. We drove the high country on logging roads. He hunted from his '56 Cadillac, the green one with leopard skin upholstery, dual pipes. We climbed the rough dirt track through tall timber. With one hand on the steering wheel, his window rolled down, he hunted the woods for antlers, for movement in the brush. Shush to silence, lest we spook the game. We huddled low in the back seat. I prayed for the deer hidden in the underbrush. I could think only of the menace of the gun lying there, loaded at the ready. In the deep quiet of the forest, the car's deep rumble. This next poem is called Venison. When I saw him, the deer was roped to the hood of the car. The slender head rested there, flies gathered at the glazed eyes at the corners of the mouth. He had a fine brace of antlers, dark bones, branched like birch trees. I searched to find the places where the bullets entered, where the dark flew in, his spirit flew out. Small holes, the fur around them, stiff with blood. I patted the deer as if to comfort him, the pelt thick and rough where I touched. Soon he will be split, haunches from sternum, then undressed with a knife. The knife will slice the abdomen and rectum, will slide through fascia, split buttock from leg, muscle from bone. Wrapped in brown paper and frozen food, we will consume all year. Without ceremony, we will gather around the table. I will eat the wild meat, and slowly it will become my own body. And then on the subject of food comes my Ama's brown bread. All the elements are here: earth, wind, air, and fire. From the oven, the loaves come, brick-shaped and heavy. The first slices coated with butter, we eat by the warm wood stove, our mouths full of grain. No talking. We negotiate coarse lumps, grind them with our teeth. We can only chew and chew and chew the dark substance, tasting of earth, rye, wheat, long golden grasses, roots burrowed in darkness, soil, and rain. My grandmothers down through centuries baked this bread. They taught me this food can save your life. Their hands kneaded the moist dough, loaves for those who dragged themselves 1,000 winters across frozen landscapes inside their own bodies. This aching hunger, you will be lonely. This is the hardest bread, but it will keep you alive. And then my grandmother again. The gray wolf. The gray wolf comes loping over the flat Lutheran landscape of Ballard. He is spindle-legged. His work is hard among the restless, sleepless, old Scandinavians who count their hours in coffee cups, their mouths stiff and dry as hardfisker. He is coming for Amma. She watches for his narrowness. Her gnarled hands catch it at the window lace. Her face a roadmap of all her journeys. She has fought many wolves, has driven them from the door in a rain of Icelandic curses. This blue-eyed wolf will sit in the parlor where no dog has ever been. They will sip coffee from a saucer through hard sugar cubes. Then he will lie down in a circle of fur at her feet, and they will sleep. I just returned from a wonderful vacation in Hawaii, and I love to snorkel, and I wrote this poem. So this I just wrote a week or two ago. And of course, I'm also thinking of that dreadful war. So here it is, here it is, my offering. It's called Weightless. I lean weightless in water, my eyes the size of my goggles, my mouth a breathing tube. Fish don't notice me. Their mouths are busy as if kissing coral. They eat plankton, algae. Yellow striped goatfish stir the sandy bottom. A parrotfish, all the colors of a Hawaiian sunset, gold, pink, and purple, dives. Angelfish glide by. Enfolded in gold, I swim in a school of golden tangs. We all go one way, then of a sudden turn and go another. Dozens of us dart in the wave wash. Sunlight bends a net on the sand, shifts with each surge. On the bottom, what looks like a braided belt, white and black, becomes a snowflake moray eel, insinuates himself between two coral heads. No sound. I leave my worries on the shore, stay floating in these shallows, far from news of war. This poem is called Pink Cashmere. There's another creature in this poem. She shows me her moth-eaten pink cashmere sweater. Mother moth has done her best to lay her eggs, tiny, slimy larvae nested in the softest wool. The yarn ravaged by hairy adolescent caterpillars. Think of your teenage self, that awkward, pimply version of you. If your mother tucked you in a warm, dark place with cotton candy, wouldn't you just eat and eat? They grow into adult Tiniola basilaelas, wheat-colored night lovers. They barely fly. You won't see them. They live in the edges of things we forget. For my friend, it's one loss after another. Knees go, ankles stiffen. She struggles to stand, to get two poles to support her walking. She stumbles into pouring rain, her shocked white hair unwrapped against the assault. I think I'll end with this poem. after all these animals, all these creatures of all shapes and sizes. This is called Heart Song. Think of the animal spirits, yours and mine, and all the creatures standing in the world's bright air, hearts filling and emptying, horses, their great ventricles opening and flooding, the hummingbirds pump beating faster than its wings, whales with their half-ton hearts, valves the size of hubcaps, and our fist-sized muscles pulsing adagio and andante. Now think of this earth whistling through space to a billion unheard drums, each thrumming our own rhythm, like a chorus, all of us spinning, held by the pull of the earth's hot core and the dark throb of our own. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start off this one. I call it 10 years ago. Train stranded 10 years ago at the station. Cracked windows, curtains half closed, unpunched tickets lay on a shelf, an old English hat dangling on a hat rack. Footprints eroded the rugged wooden dusty platform. A jagged beach a jagged bench is where yesteryear's stories been told. Suitcases astray, baggage cart deprived, wind-blown papers scattering in the corners. Single light on a long, tall stand, staring down at the tracks. Green light burnt out, but still waiting for that thundering, rumbling echoes of the tracks. Cablegram, asleep on the down lines. Letterman's bike, freighted, flat tires decaying in a ditch. Across the way, sunset over the boarded up houses. Ridged wooden sidewalks sagging in the deep grasses. Streets weathered and moss grown. A gray horse grazing in a patchy, empty field. The old schoolyard, voiceless. Playground eroded. Swings too rusty to wave in the wind. A church left behind, holding green gunny sacks. Wooden crosses rest on the hillside, abandoned. Flowers dry bone. The west is rooted out. The evening saddled. The inroad in the pocket. Here to and here on to. That's for all the small towns that just slowly disappearing. It's about everywhere is like that. Okay, my last one here. I think some of you people might relate to this poem here, so here it goes. The big red brick house. Gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. The big red bricks, very tall and mean. Huge windows, terrifying eyes, intimidating, scary. The big house. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Chain fence all around me, penned up, nowhere to go. People everywhere, shouting, throwing things, roughhousing. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. They're all eyeing me. Knowing this is my first time in. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Look at those terrifying, godless doors speaking to me. Welcome to hell. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there. A buzzer rings. People head in to the creepy doors. It's like a monster eating them up. What's going to happen to me in there? What did I do to deserve this? This is the longest walk in my life, all by myself. The first day, on my way to grade 1. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This is something I wrote in December, and it's gets set it to the tune of "The Water is Wide." I use the same syllable count. It's an old folk song. And first couple of lines are a reference to Shakespeare's Sonnet 73, you know, where he's talking about the bare room choirs where late the sweet birds sang. And I call this COVID lament. Shakespeare's choirs are empty now. The songs flown south to Mexico, abandoning the Seattle sky. Its November sun winking low. The air is deep with autumn's cold, and ravens cry out, passing time, in a convoluted black chorus, worrying the years in my mind. Milky coronas of headlights approach me this early dawn as I walked into the streets of COVID plague nearly 2 years on. It is a morning of blinding fog rising from my cotton face mask, turning the horizon to a haze and my thoughts to a solitary task. Further through the pandemic we go, peering at screens, losing bandwidth, adrift in our own domiciles, scrolling to varieties of death. Electronic images multiply as I shelter in pallid place of unredeemed isolation, infusing my dream-weary face. I ruminate this afternoon about children I'd seen this day, like ghost figures turning circles on bikes in a white disarray. I watch icy washes of sunlight on the building across the street as disembodied laughter makes the darkening hour complete. Thank you.
To start on. A name created from imagination's figment is Otissus, from the northwest, up a hill from the lake's isthmus, of the Duwamish tribes would otherwise be known as kingdom, who expresses regress from those foreign who trespassed and caused pandemonium. Your environment was sacred, but was taken over without moratorium. Your tutelage is pertinent towards a peaceful resolution. Your tribal village lived the greenest sustainable solutions. Broad-shouldered, brimming steady is your river, an open air, ever-flowing tunnel on a stretch of flatness south of Alki's funnel. However, its surroundings make it easy to get swallowed. A stellar investment, so attractive, it got repoed. If you were to see the Duwamish River today, it was probably while transient from hundreds of feet away, for it has gone from a place to gather to only for those hired, a color transparent to opaque, as it's now the place to move and park the cargo or store our piles of spit pouring garbo. Instead of glorifying, we've made it hidden, bordered by 4 lanes on each side and swallows oil runoff in exchange for our rides. And that's it.